everyone, this is Foxy Papa Smurf, or FPS Gamer for short, and today I'm bringing you some exciting news. As most of you heard by now, at E3 they announced that the Xbox One will soon be backwards compatible. And what you're watching right now is some actual footage of an Xbox 360 arcade game, Banjo-Tooie, being played on my actual Xbox One. This is me actually playing on my Xbox One. So you're probably wondering, how does this work and when will it take effect? Well, for preview members like myself, we already have access to a handful of titles, both disc games and, like this one, arcade games that we purchased over Xbox Live for the 360. So how does this work exactly? Well, for a digital game such as this one, it will work like installing any other game that you may have on your console. In your Xbox menu, you're going to head on over to My Games and Apps. Once there, you'll see your library of games. I'm going to select my storage device, and you'll see I have the internal storage that the Xbox One comes with, but I also have an external hard drive that I now use to store all my games. And we'll touch a little bit on external hard drives in a moment. And this is the device I have chosen to automatically install and download games and content. Scrolling all the way over to the right, you'll see I have listed under Ready to Install Banjo-Tooie. And you also notice that I already have one Xbox 360 title already installed. But we'll pick Banjo-Tooie to show you from the beginning what the process is. You select the game, you hit install, and that's it. The game starts to install. Any games that you have purchased through the Xbox Live Marketplace will appear here. Scrolling back over, you'll see that the game is now downloading, and you can watch it here, or you can go down to the queue if you have multiple games downloading at once and see the progress on each individual game. We're going to go ahead and speed this up for you. And it's important to note that the Xbox One is running an Xbox 360 emulator. It's basically a virtual Xbox 360 within the Xbox One, made entirely out of software. So what does that mean for us? Well, basically it's entirely programming. That means that no hardware such as peripherals are not going to work, and therefore they're not going to offer those games that need those peripherals. So that includes Rock Band, Guitar Hero, and any games that worked with the original Kinect. One game that's near and dear to my heart that will eventually be available is Halo Reach. It is not currently available for backwards compatibility, but if you do happen to have a copy of a disc game, it will work largely the same way. You'll take your game out of the case, you'll put it in the console, and when it loads up, it will recognize that this is an Xbox 360 game, and it will prompt you to download it. You will have to download all of these Xbox 360 games, even though you also have the discs. Because if you are like myself and you have an extensive collection of Xbox 360 titles, you're going to run out of room very quickly. So to avoid this, I went ahead and got an external hard drive. That's 2 terabytes, and honestly, I think that will last me quite a while. You can see that between the half a terabyte that comes stock with the Xbox One and the 2 terabytes on the external hard drive, I'm only using about 13% of my total memory. When the game finishes, like always, you'll get a notification, and you can select that prompting by holding the Xbox button, or go to your games library and select it from there. As the game starts up, you'll get the loading menu, and you'll also get the very nostalgic Xbox 360 loading icon. The first time the game loads, it's going to gather some of the information that you have saved on your Xbox. This could be user data or saved games and profiles. And as you'll notice, you'll get the old Xbox 360 icons that pop up and tell you when you have an achievement or friends are online, because remember, this is an emulator of a 360. This is not the actual Xbox One software, it's really a Xbox 360 inside the Xbox One running this. As the game starts up, it runs exactly like it did on the 360, which ran largely similar to the way it ran on the original Nintendo 64. It's almost anticlimactic because it runs so seamlessly. But while on the subject of achievements, it is important to note that achievements you get while playing on your Xbox One, you're only going to get if you haven't gotten them before. Because remember, this is almost like having a second Xbox 360. And this is different from backwards compatibility in the past, where the consoles actually just ran the discs. Like I said, this is an emulator. It's playing like it's an Xbox 360. So the achievements you get are you're only going to get credit for if you haven't gotten them before. There isn't a separate list of Xbox One achievements for these games. Like I mentioned, there's currently only a handful of titles out, so for those of us in the preview program, we don't have many games to choose from. But by the time it launches later this year, we'll have over 100 titles available, with hundreds more added every month. And again, this is a completely free service. If you bought the game in the past, it will be here. So you're probably wondering, if this is truly an emulator, shouldn't there be a way to pull up the old 360 menu? And yes, there is. And that before was done by also pressing the Xbox button. So to remedy this conflict, what they did was make it so pressing the start button and the settings button at the same time will bring up that familiar 360 menu. And from there, you can access your friends and your messages and your achievements and basically anything you could access before, because I'll reiterate one more time, it's almost like owning a second Xbox 360. It's really just the convenience of not having to switch the input of your TV over to your 360 if you happen to still have one laying around, like I do. Well, thank you guys so much for taking a look at this video. Hopefully this answers some of your questions. I talked about everything I could think of pertaining to backwards compatibility. I'm very excited for this, and it's something that I don't think anyone was really expecting to hear at E3, but it's a very welcome surprise. Leave a comment and a thumbs up down below if you want more tutorial videos like this one, or you have any further questions that maybe I didn't address in this video. But so far, the future of the Xbox One looks very promising as far as backwards compatibility goes. As I said, it's gonna have only a handful of titles at first, but every month it's supposed to grow and get better from there. But thank you again for all the support. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys next time.